sleep, go to sleep.
Why the Avengers were actually terrible heroes. The Avengers, Earth's mightiest heroes. The last line of defense against galactic threats, and actually kind of terrible at their job. Sure, they saved the world multiple times, but when you take a closer look, the damage they caused often outweighed the victories they claimed. Let's break down why the Avengers might not be as heroic as we think. Collateral damage. More harm than good? From the moment the Avengers assembled,
Avengers!
destruction followed. Remember the Battle of New York in the first Avengers movie? While they did stop Loki and the Chitauri invasion, they also turned the city into a war zone. Buildings collapsed, streets were wrecked, and civilians were caught in the chaos. The government had to step in with the Sokovia Accords years later because, well, they weren't exactly cleaning up after themselves. Speaking of Sokovia, let's talk about Avengers Age of Ultron.
Stark is, he's a sickness.
Aw, Junior. You're gonna break your old man's heart.
Tony Stark, in his infinite wisdom, created an AI meant to protect humanity. Instead, Ultron decided that the best way to achieve peace was to wipe out mankind. The result, Sokovia was literally lifted into the sky and then dropped, killing thousands. And who was held accountable? No one. Tony shrugged it off.
Yeah, I don't much care.
Cap moved on, and the world was left to deal with the consequences. Iron Man versus Captain America. The war that shouldn't have happened. The Avengers weren't just bad at saving the world, they were also terrible at working together. Captain America Civil War proved that. Instead of handling their disagreements like professionals, they went full WWE in an airport brawl. On one side, Tony Stark wanted accountability through the Sokovia Accords. On the other, Steve Rogers believed superheroes should operate without government oversight. Both had good points, but instead of talking it out, they turned on each other, with their teammates forced to pick sides. This wasn't just a disagreement, it was a full-on battle. They beat each other senseless, destroyed expensive government property, and completely split the Avengers in half. The worst part? It made them vulnerable. When Thanos showed up in Infinity War, the team wasn't united, and they lost. If Steve and Tony had worked things out sooner, maybe they could have stopped Thanos before the snap even happened. Selfish decisions that backfired. Let's not forget that the Avengers have a habit of making selfish decisions disguised as heroism. Tony Stark's entire journey started with weapons manufacturing, and even though he spent years making up for it, his ego always got in the way. From creating Ultron to making decisions without consulting his teammates, he often caused more harm than good. Steve Rogers, despite being the moral compass of the group, wasn't much better. He put Bucky Barnes above everything, even at the cost of the team. When he found out that Bucky killed Tony's parents, he hid the truth, causing an even bigger rift between them. Cap might have had good intentions, but he wasn't exactly a team player when it mattered most. Love distracted Wanda and Vision from doing the right thing. Wanda and Vision had the power to change the course of Infinity War. But instead of focusing on the mission, they were too busy sneaking off together. They were literally kissing in Scotland moments before being ambushed by Thanos' goons. Instead of preparing for battle, they were lost in their romance, which left them completely vulnerable. If they had stayed with the Avengers instead of running away to play house, they might have had a better chance against Thanos. Even worse, when the time came to make the hard decision, destroying the Mind Stone, Wanda hesitated.
One eternity later. A few moments later.
She knew it had to be done, yet she waited until the last second, giving Thanos the chance to reverse time and take it anyway. Love is great and all, but maybe not when the fate of the universe is on the line. Iron Man and Doctor Strange arguing.
And I want you to thank me now. Go ahead, I'm listening.
For what? Nearly blasting me into space?
Who just saved your magical ass? Me.
I seriously don't.
Instead of working together. When two of the smartest people in the MCU met, you'd think they'd join forces to strategize against Thanos. Nope. Instead, Infinity War gave us an entire subplot of Doctor Strange and Iron Man bickering like children. Tony thought he was the only one who knew what was best, and Strange wasn't about to let some billionaire tell him how to do his job. Instead of pooling their intellect and forming a solid plan, they wasted time arguing over who should be in charge. By the time they got to Titan, they were still struggling to work together, which cost them a crucial moment in the battle against Thanos. If they had just put their egos aside, maybe they could have pulled off a win. Star-Lord took nothing seriously, and it cost the universe.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy. You get your goddamn ugly ass on.
Speaking of people who ruined everything, let's talk about Peter Quill. From the moment we met him in Guardians of the Galaxy, Star-Lord's approach to heroism was questionable at best. He literally thought distracting Ronan with a dance battle was the best way to win. Sure, it worked that time, but instead of learning how to actually fight like a proper warrior, he kept relying on cheap tricks. Then came Infinity War, where he finally had the chance to prove himself in a real battle. And what did he do? He let his emotions take over and ruined the entire plan.
Asshole! Tell me you didn't do it!
The Avengers had Thanos restrained. They were this close to removing the gauntlet, and then Star-Lord decided to punch him because he was upset about Gamora. He could have at least waited 10 more seconds. But nope, he lost control, and the snap happened. Good job, Peter. The Thanos problem. Could they have prevented it? Let's be real, Thanos shouldn't have won. The Avengers had multiple chances to stop him. Doctor Strange saw over 14 million futures, and they still failed. Star-Lord let his emotions ruin the plan on Titan. Thor aimed for the chest instead of the head.
You should have gone for the head.
And Hulk refused to show up until it was too late. Even in Endgame, their plan was full of risks. They went back in time, stole the Infinity Stones, and snapped half of existence back. But guess what? They also invited Thanos from the past into their timeline, leading to another massive battle. It worked out in the end, but it was pure luck that Tony had the perfect moment to snap Thanos out of existence. Final verdict. Are the Avengers actually heroes? At the end of the day, the Avengers saved the world. But at what cost? Cities were destroyed, innocent lives were lost, and they couldn't even keep their team together when it mattered most. Maybe they weren't the selfless protectors we thought they were. Maybe, just maybe, they were the real problem all along. What do you think? Were the Avengers actually good heroes, or did their failures outweigh their victories? Let me know in the comments.
Puny God.